Good afternoon, everybody. This is Joshua, and we are going to discuss the power clean. We have a written example borrowed from the amazing guys over at Whiteboard Daily. I drew this out to kind of mimic their style. So when we start out here, we're going to be almost in a deadlift position. We have the hips and shoulders stacked over one another. The bar is going to be resting against the shins, and all the weight is going to be back here in our hips. As we move into this first pull, we're going to bring the bar up into the body. We're sliding that bar as we're pulling our knees back away from the bar, still keeping that nice stacked orientation. As we move into this second pull, we're going to shrug up on the bar, starting to extend the hips and use that to kind of drive that barbell up into our catch position, which we'll see in just a moment. Now, as we finish this second pull, we get into our extension. Our knees, hips, and shoulders are fully extended. We're bringing that bar. Now we're gonna almost bounce that barbell from the hips, driving that upwards into our full third pull. We wanna pull under the bar and get ourselves stacked, and trying to make sure that this weight, which is gonna feel pretty weightless here, is actually sliding up into the body. And then we'll finish out by trying to meet the bar, not trying to pull it into us, but we want to get ourselves up under the bar. And we'll see that here in our live demonstration as we receive it. And then when we fully stand, our elbows are as parallel to the ground as we can. Our hips and knees are stacked, and we have this nice standing tall orientation. This will be our power clean. The big difference here that you see in this position is that we don't have to get into a full squat to meet the bar. And we'll discover that as we look at some of our adjustments or possibly regressions or progressions in the discussion. And now we'll move into that live demonstration. So I'm gonna get myself set up on the bar. My shins are touching the bar, heels are about shoulder width apart. My toes are slightly pointed out. I'm gonna grab the bar about a thumb's width outside my hips. I like to put it right on the break of the knurling. I use a hook grip where my fingers wrap over my thumb, but if that's too uncomfortable, you can just opt for a traditional pronated grip. From here, I'll get down. It'll look very much like a deadlift to start. I'll grab that bar. All the weight is in my heels. My chest is up tall. My back is nice and straight. My shoulders are going to be directly over, maybe a little bit past the bar. This will be my starting position here. From here, I'll bring the bar up my shins, pulling my knees back as my hips come to meet the bar. As we move in from that first to that second extension, that second pull, bringing those hips into extension, letting that bar rise up, and then I'll come and meet the bar and stand tall, trying to keep my my upper arms parallel to the floor. And now we'll view that movement from the front. Some of the things to keep in mind is this should be two separate speeds. I'm slowly pulling the bar up to the knees in that first pull. As I move into the second pull and drive those knees back, it is an aggressive shrug as I bring that bar in. My hips are actually providing the power for the movement, driving that bar up. As it's moving in, I'm bringing my elbows up and around the bar, catching that little quarter squat, keeping my core tight, my glutes engaged, driving up into that full extension where I'm locked out here at the top. I don't want to bring the bar to me. I want to bring myself under the bar. And that's something that a lot of people end up getting confused about when they're starting to learn the movement, because they think of pulling it this way instead of trying to have that bar come up in a nice steady pattern straight up the body. Again, from the front, it'll look just like this. I've got my knees and shoulders stacked directly over the bar. Toes are slightly pointed out. My back is straight. My chest is up tall. And I'm using that traditional hook grip. So from here, big breath, core tight. And I stand up tall for my power clean. Now, when we look at the power clean, there are progressions and regressions for this movement. Now, the power clean was originally a separate movement that was used as a foundation for other exercises. It was used to help teach the clean and jerk or the split jerk. It was used to kind of help get the bar up to the shoulders for front rack, type front squats, things to that effect. It really became its own movement at the rise of CrossFit, functional fitness type exercises, where they started using this as a standalone. What this is really the foundation for is the squat clean. Now in that movement, it's the exact same as the power clean. The only difference, instead of catching it in that quarter squat, we're actually catching it in a full squat, still keeping the orientation of the body. We just have the hips at the same level of the knees. Now a full squat clean is a little bit more challenging. It requires a little bit more control, and that's why we're listing this as the progression. A squat clean will look like this. Again, almost an identical movement. The only big difference is we're catching it much lower, requires a little bit more control of the barbell and of the body. Now, a regression, if we're still trying to get the feel of this, if the barbell is a little bit much, or we have clientele that may not be ready for this type of a movement, we can do a dumbbell power clean. Now, the dumbbell power clean is very similar. We're still going to look for those extensions through the knees, hips, and shoulders as we bring that weight up into the body. We can do this from a couple different variations. The first one will match just the power clean like we discussed. So we'll get into that traditional stance. We'll grab that dumbbell and we'll bring it up, getting that full extension and bringing it up to the shoulder. You can alternate this from side to side. And then you have your dumbbell power clean. From here, you also have your dumbbell squat clean, where we catch it in that squat, or you can use the hang power clean with a dumbbell, which starts that movement between the legs, not from the floor, for those that may have lower back issues or not able to get all the way down, and that looks just like this. Bunch of different options, a bunch of different variations. You have your traditional barbell power clean, moving into your barbell squat clean, or we can regress down to our dumbbell power clean, dumbbell squat clean, hang dumbbell clean. There's a bunch of different variations there. Hope you enjoyed the presentation. Thank you so much. Look forward to all the comments, questions here in the discussion. Have a good day.